to kind of talk into your microphone. So, hello everybody. This is Lyle Haugen with Type 1 Simplified, and this is Bill Piper. Say hello, Bill.
Good morning. My name is Bill Piper. I'm a longtime resident of Creston, BC. My family came here in 1930. We were an American descent, and I spent all of my education in the United States through university and then in the armed forces of the U.S., which was mandatory, until 1956. I came home. In 1956, I started operating in the farms my father had built up and diked from the early 30s. He farmed some 26 years and flooded 3 times, and I have a hard time believing what he accomplished. I've had serious problems with back injuries, and I've had a total of 9 major surgeries in my life. The latter part of my life here is since about 2004, I have been diagnosed with irritated bowel syndrome, and I was sent out of town to a specialist, and I was asked to go on a drug called Endicort, and it was explained to me that the only control I had of my colitis was through the use of this drug and also diarrhea pills. And I had an awful time trying to regulate it. And in 2004, I had surgery, and I had part of my colon removed, and that was because of severe diverticulitis. But I've had 2 or 3 colonoscopies in my life, numerous CAT scans, numerous MRIs, etc. And I was to a point here about 2.5 months ago where physiologically I was a wreck, and psychologically didn't have much will to. I'm only 30 some days from 36, I guess, from being 90 years of age. And during this last 10 or 12 years, it's been very, very tough on both physiologically and psychologically. Physiologically, my body has been just torn down from the use of steroids for too many years. And I was at the point where my body just absolutely rejected it one day, and I had a bowel obstruction, and I was in terrible pain. And I didn't seek out help from anyone. I did not want to go to the hospital. I'd been to the hospital too many times in my life. I just wanted to get it. So I just wanted to get the bowel obstruction moved, and so I used lactose, and it didn't have any effect on me. And just happenstance. I didn't look for Lyle. I didn't know he existed. I had a housekeeper. My wife and I have been living here for about 4 or 5 years. We lived in one home in Erickson for 58 years. We've been married 64 years. I have a good marriage and a good, beautiful family. During these latter years, I was just plagued by this colitis. They said it started out as microcolitis, and it soon become full-blown colitis. And this housekeeper we have, her husband had been helped by Lyle, And she was here this day that I had this terrible, terrible bowel obstruction. She says, I'm going to go get Lyle, and I didn't know who it was, but I'd talk to anyone. I have been very fortunate in my years, in the last 15 years or so, to be a patient of Dr. LaRue. He's a wonderful doctor. He's done great things for me. He sent me out to this specialist, and this specialist put me on this Anticort, which I found out from Lyle that out of 16 terrible side effects, I think I had 15. And I was told by Lyle that my big problem was that my bowels and my stomach and my digestive system wasn't working. It wasn't absorbing nutrients. Food was just going through me, and I couldn't regulate it. And I couldn't leave the house before noon because I couldn't leave the bathroom. And this has been going on for 10 years. So my will to live wasn't too strong. Yes, psychologically I was kind of a mess. But Lyle explained to me that we had to go back to the cause, and the cause being primarily that my digestive system through my bowels and stomach, it just wasn't functioning properly. And everything was going through me and the nutrients weren't being properly absorbed. And I'd never heard this pitch before, and I've talked to a nutritionist before. We used to have a permanent nutritionist here at the hospital. We haven't had one for years. Her name was Irene Dupre. So Lyle put me on this chicken bone.
Call it a reset program, but yes, mostly bone broth,
For 4 days. That's all I ate for 4 days, and he told me it was primarily protein and fat, no carbohydrates. And I remained on that for 4 days, and then he put me on a diet which was still protein and fat, no carbohydrates. Now I have to explain that I was taking high blood pressure pills. I was taking this Indicort. I was taking Metamucil, which they told me after surgery that I'd have to take the rest of my life because I hadn't had enough fiber in my diet for years. And I was also on statins for cholesterol. And I had my blood checked 3 weeks into this diet. I told my doctor what I was doing, and he said, Bill, if it's helping you, he says, stay with it. But I want to track you. I want to make sure that you're okay, because I was taking 60 milliliters a day of liquid magnesium. And Lyle explained to me that magnesium was like milk of magnesia that you used to get when you were kids. And that it was actually just going through my body, just going. It was like a laxative, so to speak, and that my body wasn't absorbing the nutrients that it should have because the bowel just wasn't functioning. So on this diet at 3 weeks, I went for blood tests. I'm going again in a week. Because I have a doctor's appointment shortly afterwards. But at the end of 3 weeks, everything was normal. My cholesterol was normal. My blood pressure was way down from the high 30s and the 40s and sometimes into the low 50s. It was down into the teens and the 20s in normal behavior. But my blood pressure now, when I first get up in the morning, I'm still half asleep. It's pretty low. It's terrible. It's like 105 over 55. So that's one thing that we're concerned about. My doctor's aware of that, but Lyle tells me over time that it'll increase. The low end will come up. We certainly hope so. So now I'm 65 days through this, and I have to tell you that I want to live now.
That's great.
I have a different outlook on life. It's been hard on my wife because she has been cooking gluten-free for me for 10 years. She's very good at it, and I don't miss the wheat. But Lyle took me off of wheat flour and rice flour. And his diet, as I have told you, is primarily protein. For this first time in my life, I've lost weight and not muscle. It's come from fat. I can't believe it, because the steroids I've taken throughout my life have just ruined my body. They have taken my shoulders and my arm muscles, and I'm literally bones and skin in the arms and the legs. And I look a little bit cadaverous when you see me naked. And it's not very pretty thing to look at, but now I want to live again. I'm never leave this diet. I have too many years I've gone through with this problem, and the diet's good. He keeps bringing me more and more new recipes, and he's helped my wife with them. He's been here. He doesn't charge enough. His services are so valuable, and it's something that you don't receive from a doctor. He's actually gone right to the cause of the problem. And it just baffles me that all these years and all these specialists, and I've been to Mayo's. I've been to Calgary 3 times and saw 9 doctors. They turned me down flat. They wouldn't do anything for me. They just told me to stay where I was, and it wasn't very good. So I'm speaking today in hope that what I've said will help others, and that they'll believe Lyle when he tells them he can help them if they have digestive problems. I hope this is adequate for him to be able to show to other people who have these problems, and these other people who may have had these problems. Please free to call me. I'm on the phone book. I'm only Piper, Piper, in the phone book in Creston. I'd be very happy to help anyone that's been through what I've been through. Thank you.
That's amazing, Bill. Thank you very much.
Okay.